Some of the common blocks that people experience when they're tapping into their intuitive nature. And one of them is that people often wait for spirit to come to them, and instead of them actually commanding the psychic conversation. Um, and I literally call it not taking command, because what happens is that we're often taught that we don't have the right to take command, that we're not worthy of being in command, and that in some form we do surrender to spirit. Of course there is a surrendering aspect to it, but again, you're 50% of the equation, and your consciousness is being used as a medium, as a platform. So demanding that command is a part of the skill. And a lot of people will sit and say, I don't hear anything, I don't feel anything. Well, your job in that moment is to then command that you hear something, command that you feel something. So for an example, when I'm giving a reading to a client, and again, we often close our eyes when we want to get into somebody's energy field, because it takes away all of the outside interference, and it really allows us to go into the internal frequency and vibration that we're looking to tap into, because remember, intuition is a vibratory language. And when we do that, we wait. That's the first step. We listen and we wait and we connect. One of the tricks that you can do to connect quicker and faster to their energy, to get it a good read, is to do that body scan. Whether you scan them from their head to their toes or their toes to their head, it doesn't matter which order you go in, but you can close your eyes and scan the person very slowly. And do this with mindfulness, and pay attention to what you hear. Pay attention to what you may see with your inner eye. Pay attention to what you might feel, because these are all messages that are coming from that electromagnetic energy field. And in your interpreting, your job is to interpret those energies and to be able to discern them. And then, of course, relay them to whoever it is that you're reading, or whoever it is that you're working with. The other aspect of that is, sometimes when you go in, people wait and they go, I don't hear anything, I don't see anything. And usually that's because their egoic mind is in some form getting in the way. So what does that mean? That means that, sometimes, we're terrified that we're going to get it wrong, or we feel like we've been put on the spot. You feel like you're giving a speech with a room of people, and it really, you're just sitting next to one person, but you get that feeling of a little bit of an anxiousness, and a little bit of a, oh, I hope I do this right. And what if nothing comes through? So the chatter of the mind really gets in the way. So it's really, really important for you, prior to your experiences, when you're going to be reading others or scanning other people's energy in order to do intuitive work, it's really, really important that you set the tone prior to your reading. So you set up your space. That's the first step. Whether you light candles, whether you light incense, whatever it is that you need to do to make your safe, make your space feel safe and comfortable. But the truth is, it's really more internal. Setting the space is an internal frequency shift. So it's kind of like the same thing that we do when we go into meditation. Prior to the reading, you want to sit with yourself. You want to breathe. You want to let that prana in your body start to move through your energy field. You want to do your best to become as calm and as relaxed as you possibly can. And then some people like to pray in that moment. Some people like to use mantra at that moment, to kind of get into that frequency a little bit more, to open their own intuitive frequency. So there's many different ways to do it, but setting that space prior to the reading is very, very important. But that space that's the most important is the internal space within you. Is my body feeling good in this moment? Have I drank enough water? Am I calm? Am I relaxed? Have I made my connection with either my spirit guide, or just have I tapped into that unified field of all possibility? And am I ready to be in this space now with someone else? That's one of the most important aspects of giving a reading prior to the reading. And then once you're in it, and you're closing your eyes, you're connecting to that person's energy, and you're beginning to scan them, whether you use body scanning or not, because some people don't. Like, for instance, I don't use body scanning. It's just not something that I do, but it's also because I've been giving readings for over 27 years and it's just not something that I necessarily need to do anymore. But for those who are just starting or for those who are trying to really hone their skills, that scanning is really, really helpful, especially when you're doing it with your eyes closed, because you're going to tap into that internal self much faster than you would if there were outside stimulations from your eyes. So closing them really helps. Um, and then once you're there and you're sitting in that space to listen, internally listening, you're going to pay attention. What do I feel? What feelings are coming up? You might even have feelings in the body. You might have aches and pains come up that you never had before. And in that instance, that might be an indication that it's not your body that's feeling that way. It's actually the body of the person you're reading, which may lead you into some forms of medical mediumship or medical intuition. The other thing you're going to do when you're closing your eyes is pay attention to any mental visions that you get, inner visions. So inner visions, a lot of people go into opening up their third eye and they think that they're going to have this literal vision that's going to pop up like a movie screen in front of them. And I'm going to tell you that 9 times out of 10, that's not how it works. It's more of an internal vision, an internal experience that you have, kind of like when you're in your dream state. So when you're in your dream state and you're going to bed, you have a dream and you literally can clearly see a vision of an experience, but it's not a literal, it's not a physical vision, it's an internal vision. So that's something that you want to be aware of. And you also want to be aware of sometimes you get a vision of something that makes absolutely no sense to you. Like you could go into someone's energy, close your eyes, and just keep seeing, turtles popping up. And you don't think that that has any significance. But actually, when you relay the message to the client, it has great significance. So you never want to discount anything. I usually tell people get a pad, get a pen, have it in front of you when you're doing your readings, and anything that comes into that inner visionary experience, write it down, and don't be afraid to express it to the person that you're reading. That's another block. People are so scared to say it because they're thinking, what if I'm wrong? But what if you're right? What if you're right? And that's where some magic really happens, because I've had experiences where I have seen things that make absolutely no sense. And I've actually said to the client, I don't know why, but I keep seeing this. And then they start crying and they say, oh my God, that was my grandfather. That's him. He always comes to me in the form of, ladybugs or turtles, whatever it is. Or my father used to have turtles all the time. We used to have them as pets, whatever it means to them. So don't discount it by any means. And throughout the reading, there's definitely going to be moments where your fears, your doubts, your insecurities are going to start coming into the picture. That's when you need to just take a deep breath, continue to be mindful of your own inner self. Now, when you're going in, and let's say you're there, and again, you're just not feeling anything, you're not necessarily hearing anything. And hearing, again, is an internal hearing. It's 9 times out of 10, not an external hearing. So it's not like you're going to be hearing a voice externally, although I'm not going to lie, there are instances where I have experienced that, and other intuitives I know have experienced that, but that tends to be a little bit more rare. What we see more is, again, that internal hearing. Like when you have a dream and you're talking to someone in your dream, you're not literally talking to them. They're not literally talking to you. You're not literally hearing, each other, but nevertheless, there's an internal hearing that's going on. So you're looking for, when you go in, what do I feel? What do I hear? What do I see internally? That's really what you, and sometimes taste and smell can play a role at times too. Now, if nothing is coming to you in that moment, that's when you can use your free will, when you can exercise your inner power and make the command. And the command is really just gently speaking to your higher power or your spirit guide, whatever it is that you use to tap in, whatever that connection point is for you, and you start having the conversation. You start asking questions. You start meeting the energy halfway, because remember, you are 50% of the equation. So when I'm sitting with someone and nothing's coming through, or I'm not necessarily connecting to them, I will stop, take a deep breath, close my eyes, listen, go inside. If I still don't feel anything, I'm going to start asking questions. I'm going to start making the command. So I'm going to start to ask questions like, Is there something that this person needs me to, is there a message that I need to deliver to this person today? Is there anything in their physical body that I need to be aware of? Is there something going on in their life that you could shed light upon for me in this moment? You start asking questions, making the command.